Greetings, ASA members, and welcome to the new year. Let's talk the pandemic, the governor's budget, and some ASA news. Let's start with the pandemic outlook. Yes, we must. Last Wednesday, that's January 12th, it was reported that 760,000 people in the U.S. had reported contracting COVID the day before. Yes, 750,000 cases in one day. Omicron is less severe, but there's no way our health system can adequately manage when that many people are getting sick every day. These are reported cases, not including those who used home tests and didn't report being positive. For comparison, that's roughly the population of Seattle getting sick every day. In Arizona, COVID cases are at their highest level in the entire pandemic. On Friday, 20,257 cases were reported, a new state record. A week ago, on the 8th, it was 15,850, 5,000 less just a week ago. The death toll, 25,000 on January 13th. 16 days after we hit 24,000 on December 28th, 17 days after we hit 23,000. So more are dying more quickly. Our COVID death rate since the pandemic began is 343 deaths per 100,000 people, putting Arizona third in the country. New York City by itself is first, Mississippi is second. Nothing to be proud of there. That's why you are experiencing staff shortages in every area and record student absences. Now, that's the grim side, and I don't know if this is a bright side or not, but on Wednesday, January 12th, Will Humble, Executive Director of the Arizona Public Health Association, reported to ASBO that the virus is expected to spike in the next 2 weeks and then tail off in February, with hospitalizations to lag that by about a couple weeks. Okay, enough of the pandemic. On to, I don't know if this is better news or not. The governor reported on the state of the state last Monday. What did he say about the virus? That's right, nothing. What thanks did he offer to the medical profession and healthcare workers for their stellar efforts during the last few months? Nothing. What thanks did he offer to public school educators, both traditional and charter, for tirelessly striving to keep the doors open despite incredible obstacles? Nothing. Echoing in my brain is a classic Simon and Garfunkel song, The Sounds of Silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend. He did offer some details last Friday about his budget. I will briefly mention a few of the lowlights. More details will come in emails to our members this week. Okay, let's start with the governor's Civic Excellence Incentive Bonus Program. He's proposing $5 million ongoing towards schools with high achieving results on Arizona's required civics test. Now remember, this is the test our students have to take, which is the same as the citizenship test. It's 100 questions, all strictly rote memory recall. Awards money will go to schools where students achieve a score of 95% or higher on the American Civics Act assessment. $450 per pupil to schools with 50% or more free and reduced price lunch count, $300 per pupil at all other schools, and half that award must go to the teachers. Well, here's one problem, of course, with this is the free and reduced price lunch counts are much lower right now because for 2 years parents have been used to getting free lunch for all kids without filling these forms out as a result of the pandemic. And they've not been filling out those forms. So basing this on free and reduced price lunch is a huge issue. But that's what happens when people aren't paying attention, people in places of high authority. Okay, let's go on to another program, results-based funding, called zip code based funding by some of us. There's an increase of $60.8 million proposed, bringing the total now for this program to $129 million. So this will as well be based on letter grades. The existing law says letter grades. The last few years they based it on test scores. So A schools with the reduced price lunch population of 60% will receive $429 per pupil. A schools with a reduced price population of less than 60% will receive $241 per pupil. B schools, 60%, will receive $241 per pupil. The issue again here, besides just rewarding schools on the basis of A or B, which ends up rewarding them on the basis of the neighborhoods in which they reside, again is free and reduced price lunch count. Those numbers are very low, they're inaccurate. Schools are trying to get parents to fill those forms out, but they just don't have to get free lunch count, so why should they? So this is a program we're not really happy with, and they're doubling the money. Not throwing the money behind schools in poverty, but throwing the money behind schools in wealthy areas. Now, what did the governor say in his message about the single most pressing issues for public schools right now, which is the aggregate expenditure limit, which if something isn't done about it by March 1st, all school districts will have to cut 16 to 17%. What do you have to say about that? That's right, nothing at all. The legislators are awaiting the Superior Court ruling on Prop 208. They don't want to waive the aggregated expenditure limit and be seen as okaying anything that implies it's all right for Prop 208 to exceed the constitutional spending limit. Remember, the state Supreme Court directed the lower court to assess whether or not 208 would lead to exceeding the limit, and if so, to find it unconstitutional. When will the court rule? Maybe next week, but maybe not. So who will lose money under that? How much will districts have to cut if it's not changed by March 1st? Well, I've included a link to that list in this message. Everyone loses 16 to 17% except the charters. Now let's talk briefly about two upcoming ASA webinars. One is the Arizona Codes Information Zoom meeting. That's Wednesday, January 19th, 1 to 2 o'clock. It's all about a state initiative that provides funding for schools to develop coding programs. Students can qualify and go into immediate jobs upon graduation. Wednesday the 19th, 1 to 2 p.m. The second webinar is the Return to School Roadmap, what schools need to know about special education. It's a new guidance document just issued by the feds. It contains huge implications for new obligations school districts might have regarding special ed students as related to the pandemic. Tuesday, January 25th, 10 to 11:30 a.m. There's more details and a link in this message. Now let's go on to discuss a new ASA, double ASA collaborative that's starting, and this is the Arizona Aspiring Superintendents Academy for Latino leaders. And there's a link in this message that gives the details there, but this is a year-long program taught by Dr. Lupita Hightower of Arizona and Dr. Gladys Cruz of New York. So if you're an aspiring superintendent and you're a Latino or a Latina, this might be just the program for you. Now, some conference opportunities, you'll see them scrolling on our screen. There's the Safety Conference, February 6th through 8th. The Higher Ed Conference, April 29th. Remember, especially between those two, the Women in Leadership Conference, March 31st. Then our summer conference is coming as well. You'll see those dates. Now, congratulations to Dr. Paul Ty, Superintendent of the Saddle Mountain Unified School District. He will be my successor in the position of Executive Director for the Arizona School Administrator starting July 1st, 2022. And finally, we especially extend kudos to Quincy Natey, the Superintendent of the Year for Arizona. He's the superintendent of the Chinle Unified School District. He's been named a finalist for National Superintendent of the Year for AASA. And we will find out who the National Superintendent of the Year is at the February conference. So both those superintendents, please extend your congratulations to them and keep up the good work you're doing with our students despite the enormous obstacles created by the pandemic and some of our state leaders.